And hello. I am back with Robot Jellyfish, who hopefully
Oh,
can hear me. Okay, good. Um, I just wasn't sure for a second. I was like, I had doubts for a second about how well I can make this work.
we're doing great. We're doing great.
We're doing great. I didn't save in like the game, so I have to load state.
Yeah, we got
Oh,
this.
goodness gracious.
That's a little loud.
It is. I thought that it would keep the audio
It
settings from
should.
before. Hello, Skyheart Star. Thank you for the
Ah,
follow.
that is. I know Skyheart Star. Look at that.
Took me a second to find the sound settings. How about here? That's still kind of loud. Sorry, I thought that it would keep the same sound settings from last time.
I think it generally does. I don't know why it didn't this time. Ah, well.
Yeah, very
This is
strange.
fine.
This
This
is
is
fine?
fine. This is fine. This is
Okay,
fine.
okay,
Everything's good on my side because I'm hearing it through the other thing and not through your speakers.
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I had to turn it down for you specifically because, or in the thing specifically because it like doing
Yeah,
OBS
I got you. I
and
got
doing my computer audio. Neither of those would help you.
you. No.
Okay,
Everything's fine.
all right. Do you want to reread this line?
Yeah. I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction.
A new direction.
We'll find that, indeed, after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand.
Yeah, we have to like remember where we were.
We just discovered that, if I recall correctly, someone has been swapped out the cards in the hand
And it was after the murder.
after the murder, which is
Yeah.
very weird.
Which is very weird.
And that someone made two critical mistakes. I'm sure you're gonna tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card,
I mean,
because the one who did the swap didn't know two colors of cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card.
or letter in this case.
Right, the person replaced the fifth ace with a king. I'm sh- I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in.
But there's one problem. According to our case record, this person doesn't exist.
True, not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person. Though it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime.
I gotta say, Apollo Justice fucking went hard on the tutorial case.
Yeah, this case is a whopper of a case.
It's it's crazy how far this case goes.
This was the reintroduction of the series.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that would auto scroll.
What? I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright.
The trial has proceeded on one central assumption, namely that at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room.
I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption?
The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court.
I suppose that is a problem, yes.
Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes. Is this where we meet my girl?
Yeah. Here she is. Oh, April 20th. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well, now, I think you'd know the answer to that. Ah, being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I've no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed out a bit, Kristoff.
Something heavy just fell. 1 second.
No!
Okay, it might have just been a cat.
Calling that cat fat?
I felt a thud in the room, and I was like, I should see what that was. That seems important.
Fat cat drop.
Okay.
Ah. Justice? Yes, sir? The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me.
Hello! Thank you for the follow. I don't know which half of your name you want me to use, so if you want to type in chat, then... I just feel a little bit strange calling someone hetero out of nowhere.
Oh, Heteroxen. That's
Heteroxen. Hello, M. Thank you for the follow. I recognized your name from Jelly's streams, but I did not remember what to call you. Long time no see. Yeah, haven't seen you in forever.
It's been a while. It's been like a whole 24 hours almost. Oh. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something?
I promise I get to talk eventually.
Sure. Sorry. That locket you wear, is it really yours, Mr. Wright?
I don't think we do meet her here. I think we meet her in the next recess.
Oh, that'd be really sad. I want to see her. Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it.
It's
That's a
actually
picture
the
of my
name of a
daughter.
plant growth hormone. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Fancy, fancy. There she is!
There she is in all her pixely glory.
Bless her. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Yeah, Phoenix, we all thought you were gay. Most people are. Perhaps we'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh?
Can I have his beanie? I also want his beanie.
That's a good beanie. You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did.
Hello, Stormguard. Welcome.
Hey, Storm! Let's go, boy. It's midnight where you are. Go get some sleep.
I don't know what's
It's not
happening. How is it going? So Phoenix here, the same Phoenix from the previous games, has been framed for murder by a mysterious person who we apparently haven't met. And we're trying to figure out who the fourth person in the room was.
All right.
Just popping in to say hi before you go to sleep.
Right.
Well, I hope you have a good rest.
Yeah, thanks, Storm. It's not unreasonable to think that I would cheat.
Sorry.
I'm never honest, but... It is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Yeah? You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case.
May you discover the murderer soon? Perhaps the murderer is closer than we think.
Ooh.
I have played this game before.
Is the murderer in the room with us?
Did you read this line?
Oh, yeah. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like trial law? Figure out what your opponent's thinking, and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they may to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can be a valuable source of information. You're kidding. That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who'd notice that? Words, habits, twitches, it's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you.
It's some BBC Sherlock logic. Love it.
Yeah. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals.
Once we get to, like, how it actually looks in-game, it's even more batshit than that.
It's really funny. This was before BBC Sherlock, right?
Yes, this is before.
So BBC Sherlock obviously ripped off
Oh, yeah.
Apollo Justice.
100%. But without the magic bracelet.
Obviously, yeah, of course. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will. Soon.
Pokemon Go just sent me the same notification 3 times in a row.
God bless. Thanks, Pokemon
Like,
Go.
a couple minutes apart.
Oh, notifications are on. Oh, almost forgot. One more thing. About this case. You should know, I haven't told the truth to anyone yet.
Thanks.
What? I knew it!
Charmander just super liked your profile.
Excellent jokes, Em. Whew. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed.
The music in this game is so good.
And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power.
You know what I wish we had?
What?
I wish we had an Apollo Justice game where we were just defending Phoenix over and over because he kept getting his ass into trouble.
It's like the first game with Maya.
Yeah, pretty much.
This- Give- I need a second.
You just have to defend Phoenix over and over.
This Phoenix is like, yep, sorry, got in trouble for murder again. Did you do it? No. All right. You sure?
Every time we get to this point, it gets a little harder to believe you.
My, power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best.
Yes, please.
Do. The music of this game is really good.
Yeah.
I like it. It's aged really well.
I'm curious about something. Never mind.
Ooh,
I thought that maybe the save button would be in here.
I guess not.
I think I just have to, like, know what key is what.
Yeah, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, that can be a later problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Couch will now reconvene.
Count?
Has our witness, Miss Olga Orley, recovered?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, she's regained consciousness.
Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again.
And that's the thing. You see, she's quite fatigued.
You're looking a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne. Hello, Robin. Hello, Sing-Toi. If that's how you pronounce your name. I'm sorry, I don't actually know.
That is, you know who that is.
No, yes, I do. I just have never learned how to
Yeah, that's
pronounce. Okay. I don't know French. I don't know any. I think I know what. I think that's 5 stars, right?
Yes.
It is. Yes, I'm smart. Okay.
Hell yeah. Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute.
5 étoiles. Okay.
The defense would like to request that Miss Orley take the stand.
Very well. The witness will take the stand. Also, I'm doing good, Robin. How are you?
Perhaps you could repeat your name and profession? Or perhaps you'd rather admit that you are a poor liar and a poor loser.
Sorry, I didn't expect that to go that fast.
He's a pirate now!
She's a pirate now! Name's Olga Orley. That's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. I'm great, creating some nightcore music to post it on YouTube. Nice, that's fun. People call me Olga Quick Fingers Orley.
I don't know if you want to be quick fingers if you're a dealer.
Oh, really? Want to know something else? I'm not really Russian, and my last name sounds like oh really. I don't know why I almost said smells.
Smells like, oh really?
There, that's the truth. I hope you're satisfied.
Witness, you will tell the court what you were really up to that night.
Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, see? She just yeet the dish at the jury.
That is correct.
I don't think there is a jury. I think that's like actually a plot point in this game is that like they introduce a jury system at the end.
That's because this is based on the Japanese law system, and at the time period this was released, this was there wasn't a jury system. It was literally like this. It was set up so that there was just a judge, and then the prosecution and defense have to present evidence for the judge, and the judge would ultimately decide the case. It was just one person that did it.
Let me remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences. Yeah, right. They never have.
I mean, they do, but they're just off screen.
Fine. Every day you learn something new. Yeah. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy Smith hired me to do what I do best. I was planted at the Borscht Bowl Club several days prior to the night of the game. As a waitress.
So you were in cahoots with the victim?
Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles. But winning wasn't the main purpose of the game. It was about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut.
Good plan. You swapped the cards!
Exposed as a cheater and losing on top of it, it would have made a great double play. Too bad everything went Phoenix wrong in the end. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at cheating would cast doubt on all his prior wins. A 7-year legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan.
Oh really, oh really. How droll. But it appears you made quite the mistake.
A mistake?
I agree, the trap was elegant. Yet, what happened to that planted card? Hey, that's right!
He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quickfingers Orley. Oh, really? The witness would be much cuter if she dispensed with the evil mastermind shtick.
Thanks, Judge.
Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute, I'm bad. You hear me? Bad.
Honestly, that's pretty cute.
That is pretty cute. When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court?
This game's good.
Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. Hey, one can be both cute and bad. It's true.
Very true. She's demonstrating.
That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand, just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. It wasn't me who hit Smith, it was that no-good cheating defendant. Yeah,
But he
cheating.
didn't cheat.
Yeah.
But he didn't cheat. You just proved that he didn't.
A surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves us mostly in the dark. The trap was perfect, I tell you. Perfect! If that rotten cheater hadn't messed it up.
Look who's talking.
Well, the testimony, for what it's worth, is all yours, Mr. Justice.
Witnesses like her. Who needs criminals?
Hello, Perth. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah, Birth. How's it going, man? And with defendants like Mr. Wright, who needs prosecutors?
Alright. Pressing everything. That's how we do.
This planted card, which card was it exactly?
Hello, hello. The trump card. The 5 of hearts.
Trump card.
Let me guess. Mr. Wright was to have switched the 5 with the ace to make a full house. At least, that's what you were going to accuse him of doing, thereby ruining his legend. I slid it into Wright's pocket.
When was this?
Why, before the match, of course. While I was eating. At the Borscht Bowl Club, we serve borscht. And suckers. It was me who killed Shady Smith, actually. I do not like his silly face, sorry.
That's fair. That's very
That is
legit,
fair.
Birth.
Remind me never to go there. Of course, the card was to make its grand debut during the game. Like a good borscht, a good plot must be cooked up early and allowed to thicken. Couldn't quite read
Oh, I
that.
love borscht.
That didn't seem that important.
Yeah. So everything went according to plan.
Exactly. The 5th ace came up, so it's obvious the switch went off without a hitch. Once the extra card was found in his pocket, Wright would be forever known as a cheat and a fraud. There are worse things to be known as, I suppose. Ouch, my brain, someone who's never played poker. Basically, all you really need to know is that a full house is a 3 of a kind and a pair. So, 5
Good.
hands, 3 are the same, 2 are the same. Very difficult hand to make. They both had one. But there were
And-
5 aces, which
And normally
is
there's
not
only 4 aces in
possible.
a deck of cards,
Yeah.
Tell us what happened with the search. The card disappeared?
Yeah, my trump card, the 5 of hearts. Gone, without a trace. Poof, Zippo. We searched every nook and cranny, even inside his cute little hat.
Oh, the hat. But the card was nowhere to be found, is that correct?
Never in my long, storied career, never has Quick Fingers Orley had been so readily duped. Oh, really? So what did happen to that 5 of hearts? If I'm ever lagging, it's because I'm reading chat. Don't look at me. Why don't you ask that cheating, lying, two-faced defendant?
He didn't.
He didn't cheat!
That's the whole point of this. So the 5 of hearts is still missing in action.
Take a shot every time they say, oh, really?
It's because her last name is Aurelie. Wait, isn't that a little odd?
What's odd?
You searched Mr. Wright thoroughly and you found nothing? Which means he didn't cheat. Which means he had no reason to strike the victim.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here. Framing him and then calling him a cheater.
He cheated because he didn't let me make him look like he cheated.
Oop. Here's what we needed to press.
Here we go. What was that just now? I sensed something.
Something wrong, Mr. Justice?
No, nothing, Your Honor. What to do? Should I press her a little harder?
Fuck yeah, we should. Is the answer to that ever no?
Once. Miss Orley, you're hiding something.
What are you talking about? You... me? Quick Fingers Orly hide something?
Objection! The defendant will refrain from baseless accusations.
I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is that true?
Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it when Wright hit him. With my own eyes, I saw it.
What's this weird vibe I'm getting?
Oh god, I don't know if we believe you, honey.
Would you really distrust Olga Quickfingers Orley? That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony.
Also, I think this is the first time that they've explicitly explained one of their pun names.
Yeah.
Usually they just kind of let you figure it out.
They just like vibe it in the background, and it's like, winced in pain. I see.
Yeah, I see.
Haha. Did you notice?
I did notice Winston Payne, yes.
Touching her neck, was it? Ugh. Whoa! What's going on?
Whoa, hold up. Sorry, I clicked out.
Sensation. It's coming into focus. There! That twitch! It's so clear!
It is kind of the back of her neck. Like, if I'm touching back here, I'm touching, like, the nape of my neck.
Yeah.
It's, like, right
Back
where
of
her
your
head
head.
meets her neck. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like neck adjacent.
Yeah.
It's like I could perceive her habit like I couldn't before. Gotcha! Gotcha! You touched your neck, idiot! Miss O'Reilly, perhaps you're unaware of this yourself.
Unaware of what?
Whenever you get to a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand.
The one thing I don't like about Apollo Justice is that every fucking time he finds a quirk, he points it out so dramatically. He's like, aha, gotcha, you touched your neck. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What do you mean? Yeah, sure. What?
Sure, okay. This is a court of law?
All right.
What you have to do in this case, Apollo, is you have to, like, take the fact that they're clearly lying, figure out why, and present that. Yeah. Not just say, hey, you're touching your neck. Like, fucking... And when
Apollo,
you tell them
I
about
love
the quirk, they're gonna stop doing it.
Apollo, you're a dumbass, but I love you a lot.
It's like my one... That is my one
true.
pet peeve about this game, is that he does this every time.
Apollo is a little cringe. I agree with Ferris.
He's a little cringe.
We love him. We love him. He's cringe, but he's free.
My neck? So what?
What's indeed, Justice?
It's always such a gotcha, too. Like, bro.
He does, in fact, yell, gotcha!
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part of the testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory, and she touches her neck.
I feel like this is also the only time that we do this where, like, the quirk itself is relevant to the case.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think other times it's just like, oh, she's twisting her ring. That means she's nervous. And, like, that's, like, all it is. But this is very specifically, like, the neck is because she's remembering something.
Yeah. I'm sure of it.
A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about?
This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. You claim the witness is remembering something. Maybe you have evidence of this memory to show us?
Her habit is scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So, what would remind her most of the moment of the crime?
Her hair kind of looks like crinkle cut fries.
It does! What? Miss Aureli, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I've noticed it happens when you think about the moment of the crime. There must be some reason behind this habit of yours. I believe the weapon that left an erasable impression on your neck is this.
Boom.
Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, she touches her neck.
Pixie, no, why would you put this in my brain? I'm sorry.
Her hair looks delicious.
It does look delicious.
And what reminds us more than the memory of this bottle, the murder weapon.
Sorry, I was drinking.
But something doesn't fit. If you were only the witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you're in pain?
What's he talking about now?
It was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you.
Objection! This is a cross-examination, not a wild conjecture.
Very clever. Good job. Good clap back.
The witness's habits? They're completely irrelevant.
Justice. I'll admit I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later, just trust me. Now's our only chance to break her. Miss Aureli, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime. The very moment.
Yet I am knowing nothing.
We know you're not Russian.
The single girl in the
Girl,
chat.
please.
The witness will please testify now. Bah, fine.
I don't think she actually tosses it into the audience. I think she just leaves it on the ground.
Yeah. Do I want to press or do I want to just present?
I think you want to press.
Okay. Just because that's going to start me at the beginning, and I'll have to, get back there.
Yeah. You seem uneasy.
You try sitting up here.
Yeah, fair. Her eyes are darting all over the place. It must be getting warm. Tell me, after the crime, what was the defendant like?
Well, he must have been stunned by the weight of his crime. He sat in a daze at that table until the cops came.
Intriguing. I believe you've gotten all the testimony you're going to get out of this witness. So what do you think about her testimony? I'll tell you what I think. Her testimony is
Flawed.
basically bogus. It contradicts the evidence.
What's that?
Come on, even you should be able to figure this one out, Payne. Oh, I totally skipped a line, I'm sorry. Show us this evidence, Mr. Justice. This evidence that you claim contradicts the testimony.
She didn't let him out of her sight until the cops got there. I know there's some evidence that contradicts that.
The phone itself.
Yeah! Miss Aureli, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. So, explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. No, the lobster.
The man who picked up a bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant. I can't believe she would lie in a court of law. Yeah, that never happens in these games.
Absolutely not, never. Showdown time. You dirty cheat. Check his pockets, now!
It's gone! The card's gone!
You lose.
Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to Wright. Wait, this woman who lied about her heritage, her accent, and tried to frame the defendant for cheating lied? In her testimony?
I don't know if I believe that.
And he hit me!
Oh no. You, some master of cheating you turned out to be!
Eek! When I came to, the victim was already dead, is that it? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. Me when eek. If it came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure. Well, where does this leave us?
Madness! This is madness! I'm dreaming! It must have been me who was hit by a bottle, and I'm imagining all of this.
It appears our prosecution is at his wit's end, and frankly, I can't blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events?
Mr. Gavin? Sir? I believe that, as the defense in this case,
Which you're not.
we are compelled to call Miss O'Reilly a big fat liar.
What?
Three were in that room the night of the murder. Defendant, the victim, and her. And she has a motive. A motive? Her plot foiled. The witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denouncement of that argument was murder.
What? I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me.
Just like someone you tried to frame Phoenix.
Yeah.
What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. So tangled we catch ourselves in the process.
Mr. Wright?
Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right, like Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder. And the one who swapped the card didn't know two colors of cards were being used. A fourth person.
I'm so sad that everyone in chat wasn't here last week.
It's okay, they'll watch the VOD.
There was just such a nice clue.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
It's this theory again. Your fourth person doesn't exist.
Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception.
I won't watch the VOD, but don't worry, I've played this game already. Good.
No, you should watch the VOD.
The VOD
Do it
is
for my
funny, but
voice
like you don't have to. It's okay.
Do it for the voice acting, Perth, please. Thank you. The perfect place to catch the real criminal.
The real criminal?
And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided to us. And right at the beginning of the trial, no less.
Before we had the chance to understand it.
What?
Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about?
Sorry.
Poor Apollo.
Remember what I said. Apollo, remember who you are. The fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the color on the backs of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? The card used for the last game were red. Yet, there is one person here in our court
I agree, Perth.
who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too, but why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was?
It's not me, I swear.
We know it wasn't you, Payne. Who is this fourth person?
Why do I always get put on the spot like this?
Colorblindness? Not quite. At the very beginning of the trial, someone in this room said he made this like big poetic declaration about cards wreathed in blue flame.
Do you remember who it was? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it?
Do I remember who it was?
Yeah.
Also,
you
red blue
remember?
colorblindness is super rare.
Yeah.
It's normally red-green, right?
Yeah, it's normally red green. There are other kinds too, but red green is the most common, I believe.
Yeah. I'm nodding. Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue?
There are 5 options.
Only one clear answer.
As I expected. Your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair.
You're one to talk.
I mean, we can't see his hair. We don't know. It was right?
Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night.
But of course Mr. Gavin knows the color of the cards.
How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is in black and white.
Honest question, if Pixie didn't remember who it was, would Jelly be able to help her out? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to use like a walkthrough or anything, and like, I also don't want to lose all of my health. So I remember the first 3 cases pretty clearly. But if there's ever something that I'm stuck on, I am allowed to ask Jelly for help.
It's like phone a friend.
Yeah.
Except I'm already on the phone with you. You can't tell which of the cards is blue. The ones on the floor or on the table.
But look! You can see the colors in this photo.
Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before this evidence came to light.
Here we go.
It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. Yet, it was only that, a game, in the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor.
Competition?
Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome.
You fucked up, Kristoff.
Well, Christoph? Mr. Gavin?
Mr. Gavin, is something the matter?
No, nothing. Excuse me. It was just so sudden. Right. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you?
To be fair, only Phoenix Wright would accuse his own defense attorney of murder.
While he is the defendant.
While he is the defendant in the murder.
That's a real Phoenix move.
That's a
right
real
there.
Phoenix
A
move.
real Phoenix move. Oh, Kristoff. You know, even I'd never take a joke this far.
Oh, I hate this man so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kristoff is the worst.
Objection! This is beyond ridiculous, beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder?
I assure you, I'm quite sane.
But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim?
That is a good question.
I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either.
Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim have never even met.
Well, what if they have?
Huh?
There is a possibility, after all. They may have met that night before the game started.
What are you suggesting?
Is this the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify to the court. The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happening before the game of poker be related?
Kinda has a point. I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin.
Do you ever follow, Judge? As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss O'Reilly...
Am I to assume that you speak for Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Get fucked! Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you.
Oh, okay.
Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? Fuck yeah, we do.
This was Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along. And I intend to see it through. The defense would like to request that Mr. Wright continue to testify to the court. I just added a word there. To Justice, you would betray me, teacher? I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. This is about the truth.
The words of a guilty man. Yeah, no shit. Very well. The defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand, please.
Right before murder. That evening, Kristoff and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Kristoff left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin.
Try not killing people next time made me laugh. Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club the night of the murder?
I dined with him rather frequently.
And he talked to the defense on the phone directly after the murder?
Quite against my will, I had become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now.
Back then?
I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears that I was wrong.
Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Justice? Sir? He's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. I love this sprite. Why can't I have a normal trial?
Mr. Judge, my dads are fighting. Alright.
You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yes, he dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We were enjoying the usual dinner at our usual spot, as usual.
As usual.
Usual? I always eat at the table closest to the piano.
I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting.
So, the plates and such were on the table were from your dinner.
Indeed. The remnants of my meal with Kristoff.
The remnants.
We dined for 2 hours, and Kristoff left. After that... "5 minutes? So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time. That would have been a fateful encounter, to be sure.
Oh, Mr. Wright, what was it you said? Kristoff Gavin and Shady Smith may have met?
I believe I did say that.
Here I was all nervous about this meeting. And now we hear they just passed in the hall?
That does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder.
Oh, it would be, if that was all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? This game's good. About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga O'Reilly mentioned.
The plan was simple. Elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call them out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut.
At my old Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, the murderer was never the defense lawyer. Why can't I have a nice normal murder trial?
Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces.
Yes, a harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate I happened to discover it.
A quirk?
I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card.
The card she planted.
Yeah, I snuck a peek at it and found out it was the 5 of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card. Before the game.
Disposed? Where?
There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle.
An empty bottle of grape juice? The murder weapon?
This case is wild. Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in. Colored glass makes it hard to see.
A battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. That sounds like terrific drama.
Card inside the murder weapon? That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look. Whoop.
Don't see anything in there.
That sure looks empty.
The bottle is completely empty. Huh. That's weird.
Mr. Wright, the pokerhead of courtroom number 3, approves of this battle of wits. Please revise your testimony with this new information. Yeah, so about that.
Phoenix, what's going on here, buddy?
Hey, Phoenix, what's up, bud?
Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes. I've examined the bottle and I don't see any card in here. No. No card.
What, Mr. Wright? Surely isn't all you have to say for yourself.
I can't say that I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however. Huh? Perhaps a fifth person came and took it out. Oh, and a sixth person could have helped.
I fucking love that line. He's so catty.
Good line. Honestly, it's a good line.
Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client.
My apologies, Your Honor.
I won't have you disparaging our investigation either.
Sir, that is too much sass. You are a lawyer.
Somebody drank the card.
Yum, tasty card. We looked inside that bottle. There was nothing.
Sorry, I thought I saw something.
So what's going on? Well, here's the thing. Once you fold up a card and put it inside a bottle, it's gonna be impossible to get it back out again.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Or did the card just disappear?
Ooh.
Like magic?
Like magic. If only we had a magician.
That would be really helpful.
That'd be so helpful.
Oh, man.
Sorry, I was drinking something. In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence.
Oh! Push him harder, Justice. Break him! It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Why do I get the feeling we're not on the client's side anymore?
Alright.
Oh, man. You made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at that time? Not a soul. It was the middle of the night after all. So there, in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. It didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone.
Well, that's nice of you. She tried to frame you for murder.
Here's the thing. He doesn't care. Phoenix is just a nice guy. And when he returned, the victim was already dead, yes. I'll admit, I was a little startled when I walked in.
A little?
He was bleeding from the forehead, after all. I guess I'd be startled too if I walked in on a scene like that.
Let me just...
A cut on his forehead?
That's odd.
Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes. Take a look at this photograph of the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Good point.
Phoenix!
Is that all you have to say?
Phoenix!
Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it.
Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court?
Ah, I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put the hat on his head.
Yeah? You?
You put the hat on the dead man's head?
He wore it through our entire poker game. After calling the police when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view. Shining bright, just like in this photograph.
And?
I picked his hat up off the floor and I put it on his head.
Why'd you do a thing like that?
I love the explosion noise at that revelation.
Just like, why?
Why?
All I can say is, I'm sorry. But that's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So, Missa really didn't see it. It being the victim's, his head.
I think Shady Smith is pretending to be dead, actually.
I think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Ah, here we go again.
Sorry, 1 second.
Mr. Gavin? Ahem. Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin? This witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Kristoff. I never knew.
Oh, I want to shake him so bad.
I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here.
Yeah, not telling the truth is also not the same thing as lying. Usually.
Well,
What I mean is that, like,
wavy hand.
the specific way he phrased, I haven't told the truth to anyone yet, does not mean
Yeah.
I have been lying. It means
Yeah,
there is a
he's-
thing I haven't said.
Yeah, he's said that he hasn't said stuff, and he's repeatedly said, like, oh, I'm not going to testify.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. Eh? When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well.
A reason?
That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night, call that I spoke with defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation. What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. That gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good? He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. You mean someone cracked that flawless bone china pate? It wasn't you, was it? Me? Please. The cop should be here any minute. I'm in your hands, should it come to that.
I think it's pate because pate is like a food.
Oh, bone china plate.
No, it's pate. They're making a joke that he misheard him.
Oh, God bless America. Sorry, Japanifornia.
Japanifornia.
Bone china plate? a kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny. And not plate, but how do I pronounce that?
You said pate.
Pate?
I think it's pate.
Pate, got it. And not plate, but pate. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead.
That line always trips everyone up whenever they play this game.
I'm doing my best. I don't
It
know
is not your
words.
fault. It is not your fault.
I don't know words.
The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead.
Wait a second. Something's not right about that phone call. So, after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club. Most certainly. Then how did he know? When did he see this bone china pate?
Oh, that's right.
Yes. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light.
Kristoff, you just gotta be poetic. And it fucks you over every time.
Thanks, Berth. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong.
The dramatics have betrayed him, yeah.
It's true. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court? Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's hat back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, hasn't it? Phoenix Wright.
Order! I will have order! Mr. Payne?
Yes, Your Honor?
I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear Defense Attorney Gavin's testimony?
Oh, God. Yeah, well, as the prosecutor,
Very well, we'll break for 10 minutes. After which Mr. Gavin will take to the stand for our cross-examination. Are we clear on that?
Crystal clear, Your Honor.
Very well, this will be the final recess for the day. Which means we're about to meet our girl.
Yes! Let's go!
Let's go!
Let's go!
Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Who'd have thought today would turn out like this?
May I?
Here she is. Huh? What?
Hello, sir. Please, pick a card.
Oh, what's all this about? Is this one okay?
Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it.
Trump card?
The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely and the game is yours. That's all.
An ace? Where do I remember that card from?
Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you.
The missing 5th ace. Wait, this blotch of red, is that blood?
You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it.
Bye.
Bye.
This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth? Well, she is nice.
Yeah.
I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what it all meant. That girl. I'd seen her recently, but where? That's when I made the connection. There she is!
There she is.
Bloody
Received from a
ace.
mysterious girl.
Who is that mysterious child?
I'm just gonna, real quick. Okay,
It's red.
just curious. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand?
No, fuck. Here we go!
Here we go. Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Will the witness state his name and occupation?
Will Defense Attorney Gavin please state his name and occupation?
Yeah.
Is this farce necessary, Your Honor?
Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. One time we
I
were
want-
cross-examining a parrot. That was crazy.
Fine. I'll play along.
First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat?
By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it.
Fuck off. Hey, bud.
Let's go! I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin.
Got the classic music going.
Let's go! Phoenix and Gavin have swapped places!
Mr. Wright.
What do you think you're doing, right?
Oh no, Perth, do you not like Clavier? Oh, you're gonna have a bad time in this stream. I love Clavier. He's my favorite prosecutor.
Wow. Things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for the second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off, except for that one time.
Sorry.
That one time being the instant he was hit.
Oh!
When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, his hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you have had to be at the scene of the crime, at the time of the crime.
I like Turnabout Serenade. I think it's fun.
In other words, you'd have to be the real killer, is what you're trying to say. Not bad, Apollo.
Mr. Gavin?
I'm afraid I haven't been entirely honest with the court.
Is that right?
What?
Oh, I assure you, I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet, I'm afraid in the current situation I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Gavin's counterattack, let's go.
Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night?
I think Perth makes an interesting point. That's like Gavin's like fatal flaw is that he has to be theatric about things.
Yeah,
He needs to,
yeah.
like- he doesn't just need to like say a thing. He needs to say a thing and have everyone looking at him.
Yeah.
The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club.
If he was just, like, normal about anything, he could get away
None
with
of this-
murder.
Like, if he was normal about anything, he wouldn't have, like, murdered in the first place. if you
That's
think about it,
fair.
really.
That is fair. That is true.
Like, the fact that he is the way he is the reason why all this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as he appears in the photo.
Here's we're about to get into the fucking diagram.
A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that this was not the best place for me to be at the time, and so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. This literally makes no sense. That's correct.
So, you witnessed the murder?
For better or for worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed.
Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you were on Mr. Wright's defense team? Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. I mean, he is on trial for murder. Well, he's not, but he's being accused of murder.
Yeah. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all. So you are Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify as you just did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? Oh!
Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant.
Old habits die hard.
Mr. Justice, are you prepared?
Yes, Your Honor. I can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. That fateful night. That man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers. His aura, shall we say. His vibes were rancid. I knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that.
So then, you knew the true nature of your client's job.
Of course. But I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal, of course. Well, it makes sense that he'd know. They were friends, after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score.
I see. What happened then?
I went down to the basement and peeked into the little window to the hideout. The little window? You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The Black Marketeers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes. What if my fears had been unfounded? I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least. So far, everything he's saying makes sense. I put the emphasis on the weird syllable there.
That was a little interesting.
Yeah. Everything he says makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense? How do you know it was right after the murder? Really, no need to shout justice. Yeah.
Manipulative little fuck.
I was just getting to that part in my testimony. Ah, there he is, the coolest defense in the West we know and love. Even when you're standing up there on the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you'd change too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. With friends like these, who needs enemies?
The fact that Kristoff and Phoenix are genuinely friends at this point is very funny.
It's funny for so many reasons, because now it seems like they fucking hate each other.
But, like, they clearly didn't before.
Yeah. By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely. You see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead.
The fish was
And
red.
then Mr. Wright came along and replaced his hat. Good rhymes.
Thanks.
Can you describe the scene of the crime for us?
Those were the only three at the scene of the crime. Yes, as far as I saw, at least.
Then we're back to where we started. The killer wasn't the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police?
2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend.
I have no idea what the judge just said.
Nothing.
Oh, nothing.
There must
okay.
have been someone else there at the moment of the crime.
Justice. I just said I saw no one, not a soul.
But that goes against what Mr. Wright said.
He said, I think. Oh, thank you.
Ah, yes, the mysterious 4th person. Who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you could show us why such a thing would be necessary?
Maybe we can.
How can I show something I can't find myself? Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. The 5th ace. Right.
Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point to a reason? I can.
We do it. It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out.
Then go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take out the 5th ace? 'Cause it had blood on it.
My reason is, this. Is this your card?
Is that an ace?
Why, it's got blood on it. Right next to the spade. Yeah, no, we saw it, Judge, thank you.
What?
Ooh, new face. Haven't made that one
This
yet.
is insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why?
Could this be the missing 5th ace?
Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card?
Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset?
Because he thought he had it.
It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked up at the Borscht Bowl Club the night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade, after all.
No! Impossible! Unacceptable! The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud.
A fraud? How can you be so sure?
What?
I would think that the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Corner him. Allow me to elaborate. What if the trace of blood was the reason?
The reason for
For the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime.
Where are you going with this?
Take another look at the photo, and at the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of the cards on the floor? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood.
Regardless, this evidence is non-permissible.
Oh?
Right? Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence?
Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question.
What are you talking about?
You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now, I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see.
This is baseless conjecture! Baseless! Oh, the point!
The point!
Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. Sorry, I need a moment with that.
It's okay, take your time.
I assure you, it's quite based. Oh, man. Me talking to my cringe defense attorney. Sorry.
What?
It's amazing, really. How a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo?
Yes?
Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Oh god, here we
3D
go!
diagram!
Oh! Entering the third dimension! Whoa! The murder took place in the hideout. The body of our luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped a card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand.
Fucked up that they had this on the DS, yeah.
It's crazy. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene.
Well, what is it?
Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on the card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, or the second witnesses?
I would say the killer doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Because you bonk him on the back of the head, but how?
Well, no, he got bonked in the forehead.
Right.
But-
like,
He was facing the other way.
yeah, exactly. Which
Yeah.
is weird. Well, for one thing, the killer's in the wrong place, I think.
You think? Mr. Justice, your job here is not to think, but to know.
Just looking at you reminds me of the old days. Not the good old days, per se. Did I ever tell you the time?
What? I guess I have to prove that they're
the other
turned around first, so it's the victim.
Yeah, it's the victim first, yeah.
Okay, well...
Hey, remember that time that I had to prove my best friend didn't commit a murder? I cross-examined a parrot. It was great. Well, isn't the victim's position that's the problem?
I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice.
Well, look, the victim was struck on the head, sending him back in his chair.
Yeah, okay, I was thinking too far ahead. That happens to me with every Phoenix Wright game, by the way.
You get too ahead of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I skip a couple steps, and then they're like, no, reel it in.
No, you got to prove each step of the process along the way.
Yeah. It's the ADHD thing where you go from point A to point D.
Yeah, I feel that. You think that any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him?
Ah.
Take a look at this photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood would fall on the floor, not on the cards.
Why, that's right. So what does this mean?
Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. I'm also sitting in a swivel chair.
I am also sitting in a swivel chair.
Swivel chairs! Swivel chairs! Oh, man. Apollo, try
There you go.
turning the chair around.
The chair was facing the other way.
Turn the chair around, Apollo, in your mind. Rotate the chairs, Apollo. It would have to be. Hell yeah, swivel chair gang.
Oh,
It's fine. The victim's chair was facing away from the table.
if only Apollo had a K Faraday with him.
True. Okay.
When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing?
When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more.
I guess we're like done with Orly, by the way, huh?
She's passed out, she's fine. We now know the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction.
Again?
Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? Now
Now it's the killer.
killers. Now it's the killers.
Yeah.
The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think it would be quite hard, yes.
Objection! Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game?
I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light.
Wait, what?
There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again at the diagram. Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try marking it on the diagram.
What? But there's no room to put a mark where the killer should be.
Don't worry. Let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try and forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing to strike our victim from the front?
He'd have to be standing right here, which fucked me up when I first played this game.
This is a wild jump.
I was like, this can't be right. This can't
Yeah.
be right. This makes no sense. But it's the only logical explanation.
The killer had to be standing, well, here.
You get points for flair, but that's about all you get.
Thanks, Winston.
I thought I was onto something here, too.
I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim is facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above? Ha!
It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that that very moment of the crime... Wait, I know! At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. That's how you pronounce it? Yeah, cupboard is not pronounced like cupboard. It's pronounced cupboard.
What's this now? Perth, how do you pronounce it?
Perth is French.
Oh.
I mean, that's the only explanation. Right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately.
Points!
Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard.
Ah, Your Honor.
What?
There's one more thing your men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff.
Heteroxen, not quite. That is not quite the conclusion we are making.
You'll see, you'll see. It'll make sense in a second.
Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright.
Do my best. But let's forge ahead while we wait. Look at the diagram once more. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here, which means... Apollo, try moving the cupboard in your mind.
Yeah, see, it just scooted.
Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it had to have been shown here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of this crime. Oh my. What's this?
What is it now?
Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found yet another contradiction.
I think this is the closest we've come in an Ace Attorney game to literally doing step-by-step logic.
Yeah, this is like literally...
This is wrong. Fix it this way. Now this is wrong. Fix it this way.
This is, I think that's sort of like the real core behind this being like the tutorial case, is that it's fucking wild. So they're trying to make sure you go through it step by step so you understand every step along the way.
Mm-hmm.
What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang! Oh, dang?
Oh, dang.
Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion.
Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, the second witness? Which indicator in this diagram contradicts what we know about the crime? I would say it's this one.
A wild case. About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not?
Thanks, Phoenix.
Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs.
Ah!
That's
I
right.
don't know why I read that way.
Honestly, that's how it felt. That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What did you say? Oh, is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was, while the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court.
If anyone in any Phoenix Wright game were to participate in gaslighting, it would be Kristoff.
I think Kristoff does only gaslight. I don't think he does anything but gaslight.
He's just constantly gaslighting.
Yes, everything he says is a lie to make you believe something that isn't true. Exactly where did you witness the crime scene from?
Excuse me,
Your Honor.
Okay. Order! This is a court of law and I will have order.
We just now received word from our investigation team at the Borscht Bowl Club. They've examined the cupboard in the hideout, Your Honor.
Oh? And what did they find?
Well, Your Honor, it turns out there is a secret passage behind it.
Oh, shit! What?
What?
That's me.
Sorry, I got excited. Ah, yes. I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that now that he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing when you have illegal goings on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. You see where a line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked, and the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Come on, say something.
Dare I ask what really happened that night?
Actually, I think we could probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There he crouched, hid in the secret passage behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. Then the chance came, and he took it. Ah! Why'd you do that? Wait here, I'll get help. Miss Olga Orley was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look and... After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red.
Get absolutely fucked.
Get annihilated, my man.
Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly, truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin.
Mr. Gavin?
Mr. Payne!
Yeah? Yes, Your Honor.
The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. Cat? Oh yes, there is a cat. Somewhere, back there.
Nice cat.
But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest. Immediately. Please, sir, we were so close to the end of this case.
No need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. Oh. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand.
Please, I need him to go to jail stat.
Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken by such a low-grade parlor trick.
Excuse me?
The defendant is cleared of all suspicion? This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to place the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney.
I love the animation to go from those two sprites.
It's really good.
The really calm one to this.
Yeah.
Illegal evidence?
Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there any reason at present to suspect me of any wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking. How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon?
I felt so fucking smart when I figured this one out.
And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne?
Yeah, actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were, upside down.
This is the 11037 of Ace Attorney.
I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court, in this case, demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor? See how the caught fish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo?
Yes?
Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still.
And also your favorite characters don't usually die. Yeah, that's true.
True. But I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that.
Yeah! Just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to...
Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one.
Don't get gaslit.
Don't get gaslit, kept girl bossed.
Is there really another?
Take another look at the court record.
Oh, I don't have to.
I believe you'll find a simple answer there. in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
How about you just say the answer in plain words?
Clavier is the worst girl boss in Ace Attorney history, but he is a girl boss nonetheless.
We did it, gamers.
I meant Kristoff. I was wondering. I was like, Clavier?
I don't know if I call Clavier a girl boss.
No. It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions, indeed. Well, Mr. Justice?
Mr. Gavin said that this court, in this case, demand an explanation. Don't worry. Justice won't leave until justice is done.
Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down? I have this evidence, sir.
It's actually easier to show you than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair.
Excuse me, on the floor?
Yes. Now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair. Ah! See? You naturally go to pick it up by the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph. Taken on the night of the murder.
With a name like Justice, Apollo didn't really have many career options open to him, did he?
His first name is also Apollo. There's a very limited number of things that you can go with the name Apollo Justice. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times.
Wow, I can't believe it was that simple. Like, the final boss of this trial is just like, oh, he picked it up when it was sitting next to him.
Yeah, it was like very casually. Recall our dinner that evening, Kristoff. I was drinking my usual juice then, too.
Apollo Justice is a very transgender name, that is true.
Really is.
It really is.
Really is. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed.
I have a roommate who is unfortunately moving, but his name that he gave himself is the name of a god.
It's a good name.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good name. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon.
Well, cheesiest Bree.
Bree has an excellent point here.
You do have an excellent point, and I want to know if you've played Dual Destinies by any chance.
Love you, Bree.
Order, order, order! What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin?
Fascinating. So this was the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottle? Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture.
Bree, basically, if Apollo is an addition to the Phoenix Wright team, Athena is the following addition. She is Athena Sykes, and she is also on the Phoenix Wright defense team.
She's cool.
She is cool. I like her.
Yeah. As I thought, more baseless conjecture.
Sorry, I thought you read that.
Your bottle of proof is quite empty. I just wanted to say it again. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, When you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier.
Any relation to Wando Sykes? No.
Yeah,
I think it's spelled differently, too.
it's Cykes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall I requested an additional investigation?
Ah, yes, I have your memo about that here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Bush Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question.
Thank you for the confirmation, Perth. I appreciate that. What, are you gonna dust that for fingerprints too? I would be surprised if any of them were on that but his. Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake, true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything.
Not of fingerprints.
Say, Apollo. Yes? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? But why? Just humor me. Mr. Wright, that bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. Here
Huh.
it is.
Well, what do we have
What
here?
we've all been waiting for. The 5 of Hearts, baby.
5-0 hearts. Uh-oh, Mr. Gavin.
Oh, you can just pull it out easy peasy. That's fine. What's this? That card. It can't be. Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. That's a little
Unpleasant
harsh.
woman.
That's a
I mean,
little harsh.
She tried to
I
frame
mean,
him
no.
for multiple crimes.
No, you know what? Yeah, that's fair. That's actually fair. Miss Olga Orly?
Uno reverse card.
Yes, our little swindling Devoshka.
That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to, and Wright lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. And then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed.
Wait, this isn't... You're telling me this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in this piece of testimony?
It would be fucking fantastic if the Uno reverse card actually ended up being, like, decisive evidence in a court of law.
I would be so fucking happy if a Uno reverse card showed up anywhere in a court of law. I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game.
Disposed? Where?
There was an empty bottle of juice that I had been drinking beside me.
Grape juice, not wine.
I threw the card inside the bottle. Wine would be illegal. Can't show that to children. The 5 of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Super Saiyan.
Oh, he is upset.
Oh, he mad.
He mad.
You real mad. That is all.
Get completely fucked.
Go straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright?
Revenge?
Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago? My past is like my logic. Straight and true.
Phoenix does not give a fuck about your provocations.
Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine.
Too many tannins in wine, that's true. I do not like red wine at all. White wine is okay, though. You know
I'm
who's
glad. Phoenix, right? Yeah. You ain't wrong, Perth. You ain't wrong. I'm glad we could have this little tete-a-tete, right?
This is insane! What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone?
I feel bad for him.
Don't worry, I'm sure Kristoff has a trial.
True.
I believe this time we've finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Kristoff Gavin?
He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now.
I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he?
Yeah, none that we know of.
Mr. Wright, have you had anything to add?
I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter.
Because I choose not to.
Because I don't wanna.
About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler. An odd profession to be sure, and that's all we know about him.
I'll arrange for a follow-up investigation, Your Honor.
Good. Mr. Wright,
Yes.
7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch.
Kristoff Gavin was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer.
He was extremely talented, to be sure.
I needed two things before I confronted him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo.
Me?
A dark time is coming for our legal system. A dark age. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own court system. We have to set it right.
Mr. Wright?
Our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Picks up Apollo. Twist, twist, twist.
Just wring him like a washcloth.
Get all the justice out of him.
Well, this seems like a good time to announce a verdict.
I agree.
This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yeah, confetti! Court is adjourned.
It's really funny you say that. There's a, it's a whole thing. We'll get to it eventually, but Phoenix Wright, The Dark Ages is a good. It was another like we a fun, different title for the second game in this trilogy. Thanks, Apollo. You came through just like I thought you would.
I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who cornered the killer.
I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability.
Ability?
Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough.
Wait, I wonder if he means... I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is that true?
Of course it's true.
What's this weird vibe I'm getting? What was that, Mr. Wright?
You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself.
The answer. Right.
Today was full of questions without answers. Most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait. You don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I met the girl whose picture is in your locket. Your daughter, right? That's right. She's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Yeah? I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait! But that's perjury! You testified! You said that locket was yours!
No, he didn't.
I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. Why does a random guy have your daughter's picture in a locket?
Very good question.
And it's the truth. Wait, but then, why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it? Okay, yeah, Apollo got there. Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices, after all. I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs.
Heteroxen, it is entirely possible that he knows exactly why this person had a picture of his daughter in his locket.
Yeah. Apollo. Yes? How about getting adopted? How about coming to work for me? You mean at the Write and Code Law offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know about it. I can't imagine that to be true. Wait, but you're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yeah. I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And at the middle of it all was one man, Phoenix Wright. This case reached its sad conclusion, and he left law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence.
Gee, I wonder which piece.
Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about the evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true.
And there's no need to apologize. You're playing this so that people who haven't seen it before can enjoy it.
Yeah, just
And
enjoy
so
the
people
game,
who
man.
have seen it before can enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy the game. It seemed, well, too perfect. I'll bet this was the forged evidence. The bottle of grape juice! No! You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, the card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left.
That's Phoenix.
Oh, why? Because the killer took him with him when he left.
Perth, we plan on playing all of Apollo Justice, and if we can get to them because these games are really long. Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice.
It's a good sequel trilogy. I like it a lot.
Because I remember almost the entirety of this game. I remember almost none of Dual Destinies, and I did not get to play Spirit of Justice.
I remember the school case from Dual Destinies, and I remember the space case.
I remember 2 characters from the school case.
The 2 main characters, yes.
Yeah. If you do the next 2, can I tag along? Sure, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
All right.
Leaving the wrong card in its place. Luckily for us.
That'll probably mean less of 2 people or 1 person talking to themselves for an hour.
Yeah, I respect that. This court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene, the real killer.
Yes.
My verdict was already handed down.
Give me
7 years
1
ago.
second. I realized that I should probably link my Discord.
Yeah, go post the Pixie Discord. Actually, I could do that here.
Oh, I already did it.
No, I'm too late.
Sorry, I should have let you do that. You're my mod.
No! I'm a bad mod. No!
It's okay. But yeah, this way you guys can know what I'm up to. You guys can suggest things that you want me to do. You can share your art, whatever. There's a lot of stuff you can do in Discord.
Go hang out with Pixie.
Yeah.
No! Don't fire
Jelly
me,
was late.
please.
Fire him.
No!
Then, you really? Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real.
But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney.
Since when does he call himself an attorney?
He's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo. So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it?
Yeah! I punched him.
It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I could help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. Phoenix is weird about dates.
Hang on. Okay, I was wondering if we had Apollo's profile. Because I was
Well,
curious
check-
how old he is.
How old's Phoenix? Phoenix is 33.
Well, because it's been 7 years since, at the very least, Trials and Tribulations.
How old was he in the first game? The first game he was like 20...
First game, like 23 or 22.
God, he was so young.
Apollo was like 22? Okay.
He's so young.
He is.
Everyone's so young. I feel old. Ugh, it's fine. We're moving on. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door.
Trucy is 15, Perth, not 17.
Perth's probably thinking about the final game.
Oh. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah,
And
in
that's
this game,
how-
she's 15.
And that's how how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough.
Trucy is, baby.
She's so small. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. Apollo's also short. He's like 5'2" or something.
Is he 5'2"?
He's something like that. He's like super short.
There's no way that boy is his. Okay, I'm not gonna start the new episode. I'm going to do another save state
Sounds good.
because we have been going for almost 2.5 hours.
Okay. He's 5'5", but that's including his hair spike. So he's like 5'3" or 5'2".
Okay. All right. I am going to wrap up. Thank you guys for coming. I had a lot of fun reading chat. You guys are very funny about Ace Attorney.
Yeah, this game is good.
Yeah.
I had a blast.
I did too. And I don't know when exactly we're going to be doing this next, but I will figure it out with Jelly and get back to you guys in the Discord.
Yeah. This was a moderately impromptu. We only decided we're gonna do this like 2 hours
This
before
morning.
the stream actually
Yeah.
started. Yeah. It was fun. I'm glad I did this.
Thank you for the follow, Bree.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
I am
you.
going to get going. Goodbye.
Take care, everyone.